over on the back end of the 1356 speed, and we've got the final drive housing in with our diff lock collar sitting there. And what I'd like to point out at this stage is this bolt down here. Now, if you have a leak coming out of where your linkage arms bolt on in your final drive, that is the inside of the pin. So it doesn't matter which side that you actually look at to which side leaks. If you pull the left-hand final drive off your tractor, you can get to both of them. So if you pull this final drive off, pull the diff centre out and rattle this nut undone, punch him out, pop the pin out, that gives you the opportunity to put a brand new pin back in again. So if you do have a pin leaking or break off where your linkage arms go on, doesn't matter which side it is, pull both off. And look, in my mind, if you break one off, replace the pair of them. If you've got this hip off here, replace the pair. But the reason just for this little snippet is to tell you that just to pull the left-hand final drive off as you sit on the seat, that gives you access to both sides. Well, here we have our crown wheel, and I've cleaned it all up, ready to slide in, and I'm just checking a few things and thought I'd check tension on a couple of bolts. And a couple of these bolts are actually loose, so we're going to have to deal with that. Now, they've been loose for a little while. There's no real sign of them shearing, but you can see they have been loose for a little bit. They have a tapered head under the top of them there. There's a tapered head, and that pulls in tight onto the crown wheel. There's a recess on the crown wheel for that. So if I roll this over to show you that, that's if I got enough muscles for that job. You can see, I'll try and zoom in on that a little bit for you. Yeah, you can see a taper there, so the bolt actually sits in to the taper here and locks in tight and gets Loctited up. You can see most of them are loose, so the crown wheel can move back and forth a bit, and until I was cleaning it up and that I hadn't noticed that. So looks like we've got another job to do, which is okay. That's why we're here, to check it all out. So we'll get this crown wheel up on the bench somewhere in a safe place, in a clean environment, up off the floor, that's for sure. But my floor is pretty good anyway. But get him up off the floor out of harm's way, and we'll reset all these bolts, Loctite them and tension them so they can't ever come loose. Okay, we've got it set up on the green bench. I don't know why we call it that, but the bolts here are half UNF, and we have a 3/4 socket to go on a tension wrench here, and we have a breaker bar with a snap-on flat screwdriver slot adapter on it, and the part number for that is A26. That's a snap-on part number. So what the plan is we'll work our way around, and we'll probably go in thirds or something like that, just to try and get a bit of an even pull as we go. And the idea is we're going to pop a little bit of Loctite on the bolts, poke them in the hole, there'll be a flat side on the nuts. Try and choose the best side to go against the bolt. And what I haven't done is I haven't set my tension wrench. Now I'm going to set it to around 90 foot-pounds. A half UNF bolt as a head stud can handle 100 foot-pounds, no worries at all. So there we are, there's 95, so that'll be fine. We'll pop that on. Now we'll try and line this screwdriver slot up so it comes down onto the bench here. I probably should have done that a bit earlier, I'd say. Where is it? There we go. So with that there, we should be able to hold this against the screwdriver slot. Really need another hand. Get it over the back there for me to grip on the hand. Where are we? Once it seems like it's snugged up a little bit, I was going to say the bolt doesn't turn, but this one's going to. Bloody hard to get good help, isn't it? Where are we? There we're not turn. Like wrestling with an eel. Okay, you see the point, see how we're going to do it. I'll run round these other ones and we'll come back when it's done and we'll go and sit the diff in. Well, there we are, we've tensioned them all, we've pulled them all out, cleaned them up, Loctited them in, put retaining compound on the heads of the bolts in through the back here and Loctited in and tensioned them up to around 95 foot-pounds. Now that's, you can see the chalk marks where I've checked where I've been, so the whole lot's done. So now we'll go over, we'll oil the bearings up each side and we'll go and drop it into the tractor. Probably get a hernia doing it, geez, they're heavy. Okay, see you over there. Okay, we'll pump a bit of oil in through here. A bit on the bearing that's on my lap. And with the roof creaking, we'll try and get this sat in. It only just fits in there. She's a bit of a fiddle to get it right. Right, it does need to go in a little bit further. Okay, I'll grab this trumpet housing now while we're going. I'll just shift you out of the way just a little bit. I'll go and grab it and we'll just plonk him on there. Right, we've got the trumpet housing here. Now here's the bracket. Now this bracket here, it's held on by 2 3/8 UNC bolts that are around a quarter of an inch, or 3/4 of an inch long I should say. But as the crown wheel travels around, it has a little track in through here, and this little track, it grabs oil and drops it down into this cavity here and then in through there. So I might run a little bit of rag through that. I felt a bit of rubbish there, I thought. But so yeah, this bolts on into there. Any oil that flings up, it runs down, and that makes sure that there's some in this cavity here. This cavity here fills up, and of course then it has to run back through this bearing to come back into circulation. So I'll just grab I buy these workshop chucks off Bunnings up here. They're not expensive, and boy, they're handy, I reckon. But anyway, no, not too bad. A little bit of muck there, but not much. So right, we can bolt this on. They have spring washers on them. Spring washers, and I popped a bit of Loctite on them as well. I'll just back them off just a little bit, make sure everything's sitting nice and snug. And this flat surface here, that backs up the crown wheel there, so it can't go away too far. Click. Click, that's 35 foot-pound. I must have a calibrated elbow, or be full of bullshit, one or the other. Okay, so under here is where the Welsh plug is, that's on the end of your brake shaft. I've checked that out, that's still in nice and tight, so we're leaving it there. The bolt's been tightened up here for the new pin, that's been Loctited in. This fella's okay on here. With a little bit of oil around, so we can see we have holes at about 1.5 inch spacings here. Then when we come around further, they probably go out to 3 inch or something like that. So at the bottom there, this hole here would go in that one there, and then the spacing would happen. So I'll just see if I can juggle this. Have me weedies, I'm right. Well, I should be able to just turn this housing a little to line it all up. Now on the gasket there's just grease, my favourite red grease. We'll give that a bit of a turn as we go. Now I'll just grab a thread here. And I'll just try and lever the cram wheel up a little bit. There we go. And that way we just lifted it up enough so the bearing could slide in. And just for the moment, we haven't got to hurry too much. It's only grease, we haven't got to worry about the gasket material going off. Good to give it a jiggle. Bit of a turn while we're going around. I'll also drop a bolt down underneath it about now. And the idea is just to have everything pulling up reasonably even together. So it's supported at both the top and the bottom. That's just firm. And that's firm. Now we'll just turn the diff, turn the crown wheel. Sounds dry in there, doesn't it? Because it is. What we can do is bolt all this up. We have the other side all nipped up now, and we can actually check the backlash on the gears. Now, I'm expecting it might be just slightly a little loose because we've used the old bearings. The new specs in the book are for new bearings, and we've used the old bearings. There's no marks on them. If you remember, we used the pinion bearings. When we put that back in, we've used the crown wheel bearings. We can't see any wear in them, we can't feel any wear in them. So once this all gets tightened up, whatever backlash we have there I'm going to go with. It's going to be fine. And for this tractor with a nice oil in the back end, it'll be a beauty. Okay, that's it. I'll button these up off camera, no need to watch me do that. And we'll come back when we've got something else to do.